What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in. This week we want to talk to you about RV memberships. There are a tremendous amount of them out there that are available to RVers. The one we're going to talk to you about today is Passport America. So the Passport America membership is $44 a year for the membership. And what that will get you is 50% off of your stay at participating RV parks. At $44 a year, I mean, if you use it 2 nights a year, it's going to pay for itself. Last year was our first year using it in 2020, and we found a significant value by having the Passport America membership. You can find RV parks that are small little RV parks that participate. There are big RV resorts that are typically pretty expensive to stay in that participate. So there's a wide range of RV parks that participate in the Passport America program. And you know, if you can find one, it's going to save you a significant amount of money while you're out there traveling on the road. They have them all across the country. We've used it quite a bit, and I think we got a pretty good feel of, you know, what kind of RV parks you can find.
There are some exclusions with this membership where some of the parks don't let you stay on the weekends, but some of them do let you stay on the weekends. Some of them don't let you stay on holidays. Some of them are only valid at a certain time of the year.
So the way you find out what the exclusions are at each individual park, you can use the Passport America app, which is very user-friendly. It's probably one of the better apps out there as far as finding RV parks and getting the information that you're looking for. So you just open up the app. You can type in a particular campground that you're looking for. If you're looking for something around a certain city, you can type that in, or you can just do it by state, and it's going to show you every Passport America park in the whole state. So we'll start with Florida. We'll type that in. It'll bring up a list of all the RV parks. You can click the map button in the top right, and it'll flip over to a map that pins every RV park that participates in the Passport America program in the state of Florida. So from there you can zoom in into the area that you're looking, and it'll show you every park that's in that area. So for example, if you typed in Georgia, let's say you wanted to go stay around the Savannah area. So you put Georgia in, click your map at the top right, zoom in around Savannah, there you go. Creekfire RV Resort and Campground. So once you click on the campground, it's going to give you some pictures that you can scroll through to give you an idea what the campground looks like. Some pictures are better than others. Not all of the campgrounds really have up-to-date pictures, so it's kind of a toss-up as to what you're going to see scrolling through the pictures, but a lot of them do have current and recent pictures. And then you can find your exclusions under the important campground notes. So if you scroll down to important campground notes, just hit the drop down and it will show you all of the exclusions. So at Creekfire, for example, you have to stay 2 nights minimum. It's only good for 5 nights, and you can only stay during the months of January, February, August, September, and December. Every campground that's listed on Passport America will have all this information so that you know if it's able to be used when you want to stay there. And then directly under that, there's a directions tab, so you can click on the directions tab. If there's any specific directions on getting into the campground or any particular entrance that needs to be used, it'll be listed there. And then below that are the amenities, and it'll have all the amenities listed that the park offers in these little icons that are in the amenities section. So super user-friendly app. You know, I mean, it's really self-explanatory, but the biggest thing is to check those important campground notes, because it's definitely there are a lot of exclusions. A lot of parks are different. If you're trying to use Passport America in Florida during the winter, not going to happen. There are no parks that we have found anyway that allow Passport America to be used in the wintertime. So typically, if it's a prime season or a prime time, peak time, they're probably not going to let you use it. So some of the parks you can stay at with Passport America, like we said, some of them are very small. Our very first Passport America park we ever stayed at was Towns Bluff RV Park in southern Georgia. Very small park, but at the time we paid $12.50 a night. So their normal rate was $25 a night. We got in there for $12.50, and it is one of the nicest little RV parks we've ever stayed at. Definitely had like a very state park feel to it, and had we known how nice it was going to be, we probably would have booked a few more nights there and tried to max out our Passport America. But you know, we didn't know. Like I said, that was our first time using Passport America anywhere, so it's kind of a learning experience for us.
And their prices have since went up since then, so it's now $32 a night regularly to stay there, and with Passport America it's only $16, so that's still a tremendous value.
Yeah, and a fantastic little campground to stop at if you're passing through southern Georgia. Just a great little park. So on the other end of the spectrum, you have some pretty high-end RV parks that will allow you to stay there using Passport America. A couple of those. One is one that we've been to in the past. We just finished up another stay there here recently, and it's Ocean Breeze RV Resort in Jensen Beach, Florida. So this RV resort is right across the street from the Indian River. You're less than a mile from the beach. So I mean, it's very close to the beach, real close to the ocean. It's a beautiful RV resort. One of the most beautiful pools that we've ever seen at an RV resort. All of the RV sites are the same. They have a nice paver patio, just a really nice RV resort, and you know, you can get in there in the summertime in Florida for half price.
And that price is normally $68 a night. You're gonna be able to get in there for $34 a night, full hookups.
Yeah, I mean, I won't say we'll never pay $68 a night. Boy, if there is any way possible, we would definitely not pay $68 a night. But to be in that location in Florida, you know, that close to the beach, right on the coast. Jensen Beach is a beautiful little town. There's shops, restaurants right down the street. I mean, it's an awesome spot to be if you're looking to be in Southeast Florida in the summertime. That's actually a Sun RV resort. So there's another Sun RV resort in Florida that we stayed at that also participates, and that is Grand Lake RV Resort up near Ocala. A little bit different setup. Again, a very nice RV resort, but in this situation, since we were Passport America, they kind of put us over in the back. Our site was a big grass lot, kind of like where a mobile home would go, but there was no mobile home there. So you were kind of back in the middle, mixed around the other mobile homes. So just because it's an RV resort doesn't mean that you're going to get one of the prime spots. You know, if they're very busy, if it's maybe not the peak season but a busier time, they're going to save those prime spots for the people that are paying the full price. But at least it gets you in and gets you a place to stay inside the park, relatively inexpensive.
So their average price is $36 to $45 a night. So with Passport America, you're going to be able to stay there for between $18 and $22.50 a night.
So it's really hard to complain, even though we were in a grass lot. That's full hookups, for between $18 and $22, depending on when exactly you're there. But so no complaints there. They had a very nice pool as well. It was a really good place to stay, especially for that price. Hard to beat it.
And another thing to take notice of is sometimes the Sun RV resorts have age restriction for 55 and up. Don't be afraid to look into it further or ask, because Ocean Breeze is a 55 and up community for long-term visitors. But if you're staying on Passport America, or if you're just staying for regular camping, it's open for all ages.
Yeah, and that was something the very first time we stayed at Ocean Breeze. We stayed there actually while we were still living locally in the area, before we actually started traveling, while we were living in our fifth wheel locally. And we stayed there, and we were a little concerned because we knew it was a 55 and up. We called them, they said it was fine, but you never know. I mean, we didn't know if there were going to be people there that would kind of look at you funny because we were younger, under 55, had a child with us. Didn't really know how that was all going to pan out, but absolutely no issues. So and you see a lot of families there, especially on the weekends, that come in and come to that RV resort on the weekends, bring their families. There's so technically it's a 55 and up, but everyone there was super friendly. We didn't run across anyone that that looked at us like we shouldn't be there, or that we shouldn't be at that RV resort. So no worries there. Another kind of high-end RV resort that is part of the Passport America, we showed you in our little we showed you when we were doing our little walkthrough of the Passport America app, and that is Creek Fire RV Resort up in Savannah. Man, top-notch facility up there. When we stayed there last year, they were in the process of putting in a lazy river. They were finishing up their lakefront RV sites. We took advantage of Passport America and got in there. Again, the downside, we didn't have the best spot. Our spot was kind of over off to the side, back up against the fence. Not the best quality site, but again, it's hard to beat when you consider what you're paying to be there and take advantage of all the amenities that they offer at these RV resorts.
Yeah, so they're charging between $60 and $90 a night normally. So with Passport America, you're going to be able to get in there for between $30 and $45 a night. Talk about a great deal.
Especially now. When we were there, they didn't have the lazy river finished, and so that whole area wasn't complete. They had a very large, very nice pool, but that was it. Now, with that whole water area complete, with the sites they have down down on the lakefront down there, another option you do have with Passport America too is, just because there's a limit on the stay, if you're wanting to stay somewhere for 4 or 5 nights, you can use Passport America for the first 2 or 3 or whatever they allow, and then you can pay full price for your remaining nights. Probably the best Passport America park we've stayed at, just given the area, what we got to see while we were there, has been Jellystone of Estes Park in Colorado. Man, what an amazing park. This park is normally pretty expensive.
And by pretty expensive, he means $70 to $110 a night. So the Passport America price is going to get you in there for between $35 and $55 a night. We paid $51 a night. And at $51 a night, given the area that it's in, you're right outside Estes Park. There were elk everywhere. We had elk in the campground. In the campground.
We had them in the field across from the campground. Every day we were there, when we would leave the campground or just take a walk around the campground, we saw elk every single day. There's no cell signal up there. Cell signal is very sparse up in that area, but their Wi-Fi was great. Their Wi-Fi was good enough for us to sign into, and we could work.
Which is unusual for a lot of campground Wi-Fi, so that was a big plus. Yeah,
usually campground Wi-Fis are very spotty and not the greatest, but theirs was actually very usable, considering there's no cell signal up there. So, but just given the area that it's in, you're 20 minutes, 20-25 minutes from Rocky Mountain National Park, 15 minutes from Estes Park from downtown there. So just given the location, the amount of wildlife we saw, just it was a great place, and to be able to get in there for $51 a night, that's definitely on the more expensive side of what we would normally pay for an RV park, but definitely well worth $51 a night, especially when you consider the location of where that place was at. So there's a lot of RV memberships out there, but for us, for the amount that we have used it, Passport America has been the biggest value that we have found as far as RV memberships go. Again, we've stayed in a lot more places than the ones we mentioned. These are the ones that were just kind of the highlights, just to give you kind of a feel of the types of RV parks that participate. It can be anything from a little small park in southern Georgia to a very expensive park that's right, close to downtown Savannah, to an RV park that's up in the Rocky Mountains in Colorado. So it really runs the gamut as far as what types of RV parks participate, and no one has given us any trouble about using Passport America. I think there can sometimes be a little bit of a stigma around it, because a lot of people might feel like you're being cheap because you don't want to pay the full price. I know we kind of had a little bit of reservations about that when we first started using it, but as we've used it, you know, these RV parks know, you know, they know that they participate in it. There's a reason they participate in it, because most times you're using it in their off-peak season when those sites are just going to sit empty. So they can either let them sit empty, or they can, you know, they can rent them out to you for half price. So it really works out good for everybody, I think. And you know, we've run into no issues at all using Passport America at any of the parks that we've been to.
Right, and a common misconception is that they are not accepted on weekends. So don't think that just because some parks don't accept them on weekends, that means all of them don't, because we have found some that do accept them on weekends.
Another thing we'll do for when we find a campground, a lot of times we will check the reviews for it on Campendium, just to make sure. There are some less attractive campgrounds, we'll say, that participate in Passport America. We actually ran across one of those in Illinois when we were passing through. You know, we had that great experience at Passport America in Georgia, so when we got to Illinois, we booked another Passport America, you know, for our overnight stop, and it was fine. Nothing happened. You know, we didn't feel like we were, you know, like we were unsafe there or anything, but it was definitely one of the probably less desirable RV parks that we've been to. So you know, do a little bit of research. If you decide you're going to stay somewhere, do a little extra research. Maybe check them out on Google, check them out on Campendium, and just make sure that the reviews are you know, up to the standards that you want in an RV park.
Yeah, and that's something we do all the time anyways, not just when we're booking Passport America, but whether it's a state park, whether it's a county park or a private RV, we're looking at Campendium, we're looking at Google reviews, and we're checking on cell service because we need it for work, and we're checking on just if there's any problems in that area. So it's just something we've gotten in the habit of doing.
Right, and that's pretty much the rundown of how we use Passport America. So, well worth $44 a year. If you're not a member, you probably should be. If you travel at all, it'll pay for itself in 2 nights. So we hope you guys found this video informative and useful. Appreciate you guys watching, and we'll catch you guys down the road.